Ivy Gang Gang,
aka Mango King. Welcome to episode 10 of season 4 of Surviving Nairobi. Kama kawaida, it's your boy Hafare, aka Long Johnson, aka Mr. Wiener Schnitzel, aka Monsieur Lecoq, aka Sergeant Swans, aka Big Richard Willie, and finally for this season, it's your brand new sugar daddy. Leo si kawaida. If you're watching this at home on YouTube, you can clearly tell Ivy is not in the studio. She had some personal stuff come up, so she couldn't make it. So in her place for the next 2 episodes, the next 2 weeks,
is Max. I've been here before once, and
a couple of weeks back actually.
Oh, Juicy too. So yeah, I am standing in for Ivy for this episode.
And the next.
Oh yeah, and the next one. Yeah.
So yeah, glad to have you, Ivy. And our guest. What? I've said glad to have you, Ivy.
Oh, no, miss too, Ivy. It's okay.
Okay, I miss Ivy.
Yeah.
But anyway, glad to have you, Max. And this week our guest, our lovely guest,
Katanu Kai Sanna. Yes. Should I introduce myself?
Okay,
I don't know.
What do you mean, Cindy?
I don't know how formal things should be nowadays. Okay?
Just wing it.
Okay, cool. So I'm Katanu, or aka Kai Sanna. That's my artist name. Currently just freelance painting. And just kind of stepping into anything that I can. So I don't really exactly have a label or a specific thing or title that I'm up to right now. I'm just kind of doing. I'm living, I'm existing. So that's who I am.
Basically, you have to need a number in Huru's government. A statistic. That's what you... Guy.
Well, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm just existing.
We all
as
are.
far as I know.
You're surviving in Nairobi.
True, I am.
Ergo, you are surviving Nairobi.
Wow,
Surviving
nice
Nairobi.
segue.
Yes, of course, nice segue.
Yeah, segue.
But anyway, I want to ask you guys a question that's going to lead into today's topic. Mlipata nini KCPE?
I will proudly say 335 or something around there. I used to be a straight 260 something.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I'm proud of 330. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. What did you guys get?
Max?
I'm in but 388.
Nice.
Yeah, 388.
Choppy, okay.
No, please.
I could never get to even 370. That was so rough.
Mainly pata what? Take it 390.
Wow. Even you.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Despite my looks, at least najua kitu. I know a few things. You might not. I might not look the part, but naza kwambia.
Who said?
6 times 6 ni 36, and I only remember that because of a song.
Is it that teddy bear one?
Yes. Yeah.
I love that song.
Wow. So yeah, I saw. Was it today? Ama ni jana? KCP results really toka.
Jana.
And number 1 had 4.
I'm not even sure. 430 something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the 430s.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were growing up. I remember.
Click out of 700, isn't it?
No, jeez, fucking hell. How old do you think I am? Guy. How old? Nafanya CPE. Okay, let's not get sidetracked. So, because when I was in primary school, I remember a kid getting 482.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a kid who legit, I think that's the highest a kid has ever gotten on KCPE.
Ever?
482, yeah.
That doesn't even sound realistic.
If you think about it, 482 means you're getting 90 on all 5 papers.
I thought it was 6 papers, but never mind.
JHC and CRE were 1 paper.
It was 1 paper.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yani tumekuwa out of school for so long and hatujui kitu yote.
Not at all. I don't remember. Actually, a lot of those things are just blanks because of the PTSD.
The trauma, man.
Guy, tulikuwa tunapigwa kama nyoka mazee.
Yeah.
Kwanza tuwa shule ya ushago. Those niggas walikuwa wanaingia high school walikuwa hardened.
Actually I can't fathom it.
Yeah.
Must have been rough.
And it's so weird to me because I remember there was a point even in KCSE guys used to get 1 million A's. Because I remember in high school our year we got a lot of A's. Then the year after that they got so many more A's. And then Matiang'i hakuwa tu Minister of Education and that shit ilikuwa deaded. siku hizi kupata B ya Matiang'i ni A ya Kaimenyi. If you really think about it, B ya Matiang'i ni A ya Kaimenyi. But that leads us to the actual conversation I want to have about the 844 education system and education in Kenya in general basically. The first thing I really want to get your opinion on, do you think that the 844 system was really necessary? You go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah.
I feel like I went first the first time.
Like,
okay, cool. This is what we're doing. Yeah, this is what we're doing. Great. So, the 844 system, what's the question again? Sija Blanc, I'm paying attention.
As in, was it really necessary?
Well, I can say some aspect of it were necessary. Because, when we were, say even in high school, right? We did like chemistry and, some people did chemistry, physics, all that shit. In primary school, we did science, these stuff. And once you finish high school, you'd see people talk about, oh, I've never used CG which mathematical formula anywhere. It doesn't apply to my life or whatever. Or like chemistry, hygienist idea, nini. But you see, we actually apply the knowledge that we got, even subconsciously. We apply the knowledge that we got from like the 844 system in our daily lives. Unapata kituka chemistry, utakuwa like new fala, but utenda ununue like powder soap or whatever, and you look at like the contents, ingredients or whatever, or just pretty much anything. Food, food is like food science, nini. All this shit, it's connected to chemistry, So we see it as useless, but I could say it helped in some aspects. The only part I didn't like about 844 is corporal punishment. That's the only kumekuwa na science ni trauma.
Just say una go back cuz kulikuwa na mwalimu tukiwa high school alikuwa anakupiga kama movie ya Jet Li. Alikuwa anakupiga vita kaja kijani. Mse ana roll up his sleeves. Like the only thing ilikuwa mbaki kupiga ilikuwa ile soundtrack. Like that nigga would kick your fucking ass. Mse ulikuwa unatoka kwa ofisi unasema I will never make a mistake in my life. Kama hivi ndio repercussions. So corporal punishment, corporal punishment ni kitu fulani.
That's a total different thing.
Yeah, it's so traumatizing.
Capital punishment ni kitu kingine,
bro.
That's true.
So 844, I feel like from the jump, it wasn't really. I feel like if it didn't exist, but if something similar existed without the flaws, we would still be in the same situation. Really, like would be in an improved situation because 844 was designed in a way of. 844 is hard. Let's just start there. 844 is designed in a way that the cream of the crop rises. Like the cream rises to the top. To quote the late great Randy Savage, the cream will always rise to the top.
Okay.
So 844 is designed in a way that even in the village, the best student in the village has the same chances as like kids in Nairobi, kids with more access to resources, better teachers, better equipment, better life conditions, because that really influences the way we educate ourselves and the way we consume information and knowledge. So ilikuwa designed in a way that even the kid in Baringo, the kid in Samburu, the kid in Turkana, alikuwa na ability ya compete on the same level, like relatively speaking, as somebody in Nairobi, Mombasa, Eldoret, Kisumu, somebody who has more access than them. But, and it's a good thing, because if one person makes it from such places, from like Gushago, for the most part, they'll go back, there'll be a symbol.
Yeah.
There'll be a symbol for the power of education. Mtu wa kwanza kwenda kusoma, kupita, going to a national school, going all the way, making it in life, goes back home, everybody else is going to see, wait, so if I put in the same effort as this guy, nisome, ata mimi nitarudi, I can just be like him. So that's one of the positives. But I feel like that notion was hijacked on the basis that 844 is determined by 2 exams.
Oh, yeah.
The value of your education or the value of you as a person and 8 years and 4 years of learning is defined by just 2 exams, KCP and KCSE. So what teachers realized is, or like educators, I don't want to call them educators because really educators are giving them too much credit sometimes.
Exactly.
Because they're not really educating, they're just doing their job. And the end goal was, let's get as many people to pass KCPE or KCSE, whichever, regardless shule nafanya gani, so that we can get in more students next year and charge them more. And the basis for us to charge more for a fee increase will always be, oh, we have this many people who got 400. We have this many people who got an A. There's a school in Gilgil. I'm not going to start some majina. But it was literally one school, one compound. All the kids will interact. But KCSE will come registered as two separate schools. Yeah. All the smart kids will come registered this side. All the dumb kids will come registered this side.
Wow.
That's
such
horrible.
That all the smart kids what increase average yao. So it's going to be two schools. They're all in the same compound. They eat, they sleep, they drink, everything together. But time ya mtihani, you are registered as this side, kauko na akili. Like if you're not proficient in classwork, you'll be registered at school. So you guys will just like, nini mfail, msiharibu min grade ya watoto wengine.
Hey, fuck.
That's the logic behind the owners of the school are like, okay.
How do they
That's the
sell
logic.
it?
Huh?
How do they sell it? Because you know how sometimes people have to sugarcoat things.
Okay,
What did they say? I just wonder because, like, I don't know. I guess also like, Kenyan parents sometimes are a little bit passive. That's one thing that I noticed for sure.
Yes.
And like, I just wonder how they easily allowed their students to be their children to be separated. Like, oh, your kid is dumb, so they're gonna stay here.
And the parents are aware.
I don't think the parents are aware because it's all
okay.
on school.
And it's boarding school.
Yeah, and it's
isn't
boarding school. You're not gonna see your kid. So and what happens is they're not separated in the beginning. It's the separation only occurs during KCEP. They will register you under. It's the same. You will do the exam in the same place, but you will do an exam separately. Huku na huku. So I feel like 844 is hijacked when people realize that the only way that one exam being the marker of success meant that you don't have to teach kids. You don't have to like teach them or engage them in a creative educational process. All you have to do is make sure that they pass this exam. So now a drill too, constantly giving them information. Ndio wana nasikianga ati so and so such and such school walimaliza syllabus
Form 3.
That is a 4-year program.
That's not even
be
natural.
logically finished in 3.5 years. If you think about it.
Yeah.
How is that possible? That's hizo ndo siku math teacher anasemanga I'm gonna take lesson ya PE. Your history teacher is sick, so I'll be taking the double lesson ya history. Kufundisha math. The impetus isn't on educating children. It's just like, let's finish the syllabus as quickly as we can, and then let's start drilling these kids constantly to prepare them for an exam. So unakuta, yeah, you got an A or a 400, like 420, whatever, 400. You did well, your parents are proud, but what do you really know? That I feel like that is why I feel like 844 ilikuwa unnecessary. Even the new curriculum inatokea, have you seen it's more hands-on?
Yeah, that's true.
It's more hands-on. It's more like in a focus on the learner.
It's more intentional also.
Yeah, it's more intentional, exactly. It focuses on you as a learner. What are you good at? And how can you improve that?
Yeah.
Checky.
And are you, the student, aware of your own inabilities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're just going to teach me for the sake of teaching me, and then useme niliwafundisha, then you start giving me exams every day, tasks, cuts every day, tasks, it'll come in the exam. And then kuna the fear that they put in you. And it's so fucked up.
Bad.
Especially because I know
We
Katanu,
were
you didn't do KCSE.
No.
You didn't do KCSE.
Yeah.
So if you did KCSE, there was this fear, because you're from 3, from 4. If you fuck up in KCSE, your life is done.
Your life is over.
Your life is
No,
done.
but that's how I felt during KCP. But like, honestly, I straight up believed, because you know how I said I used to be a 200 student? I straight up believed I was going to be poor and living on the streets. That's what I believed. I didn't think my artistic talent could take me anywhere. I didn't think even you could make a career out of painting. Like, as far as I knew, if I'm failing my classes, I'm going to be living on the streets. Because they used to threaten us that same way. Like, you see, there's people on the streets.
That's going to be you.
That's going to be you if you fail your exams. And, like, that's not a motivator. I think that's another issue with 844, is that a lot of the teachers used, like, weird forms of threatening to try and motivate the children. But really, it just scared me. And at a point, I remember just giving up. And I said, you know what? If that's how it is, so be it. And it didn't really happen, but, like... It just was so unnecessary.
Yeah, because you're threats, and they know why they're threatening you.
Yeah.
They know for a fact that you're not going to live on the street. because you failed KCSE, because you failed KCP. Especially in like affluent towns, places ka huku, you would be like, mtoto, because there's so many avenues outside. How many people do you know in life will succeed either through just sheer dumb luck, or like through people they know, or just basic connections too. So because your threat was never for you to better your life, it's for you to read harder so that they can pass an exam, or you can pass an exam so that they can charge more next year. That was the thing. They needed to put that fear in you. Ndio upite KCSE or KCPE. That's why schools love. Hakuna shule yapenda kama mean grade.
True.
Mean grade wanapendanga hiyo kitu sana.
Oh, high school is so big.
High school wanapendanga mean grade.
And all schools focused on mean grades.
Yeah. What's your mean grade? We had a mean grade of B+. All our students met the university cutoff. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The moment alafunjua, the moment that the principal stands up there, akisema hivyo, the parents are like, Kai, you go home, you tell like your neighbor who was a class 8 kid, mpelekeni Kabarak, mpelekeni Alliance, mpelekeni hapa, atapita for sure.
Unafanya marketing on their behalf.
On their behalf.
Yeah, exactly.
Huyu sasa huyu kijana wangu alipata A-, huyu lazima kuwe daktari.
That's another thing.
Yep.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
It's always the answer to all our problems. I'm telling you, because like the more you think about it, the way they push the schooling system, like as you were saying, like go to Kabara, go to Alliance. It's as you said, it's not because it's not for the students' education and it's just for them to make more money. It just ends up in capitalism.
Yep.
Like it's it's dark and it's kind of sad. It's scary, and I wonder, there's so many documentaries and interviews lately that I've been watching on capitalism and the way things are looking. You know how you can just kind of predict the way the future is going? It doesn't look like capitalism is something that'll have an end. And if that end comes, it's something like the apocalypse or the end of the world or something. And I do wonder whether this new curriculum, and I'm just speaking openly, like I don't know. But like I wonder whether this new curriculum will be something that's possible because of this capitalist world that we're living in already.
Okay,
I wonder.
The new curriculum will help because the first thing is it isn't it doesn't define who you are. The be all and end all isn't 2 exams. 2 exams don't define everything.
True.
Because it's continuous.
It's continuous. You're continuously being assessed, and you get better over time. So when you get to a point, because I'm not really sure how the curriculum works, but I know when you get to a point, you specialize in the things you're good at.
Yeah, that's in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Or the last 3 years of the system.
And I think over time you'll just like keep. It's like a pyramid. You just keep working your way up until you get to the point of what you're really, really good at. And that's good because at the end of the day, it could bring up a lot of alternative career choices that African households especially do not really consider. Because if you ask your parents, and this is like, I don't know if this is like a Gen Z, a boomer thing. Boomers believe that unless you're a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, unless you're one of those things, you are a failure.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But if you start in like allowing parents to internalize that their children are not going to be doctors early enough or not going to be lawyers, your kid could be the best footballer on earth, make more money than you'd ever imagine, make more money in a day than a doctor makes in a year.
True.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's about earning a living and being fulfilled. Maslow's,
important.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah. See, self-actualization is at the top.
Yeah.
What's the point of all these other things when you've never really been fulfilled? I have a question for you.
Yes.
You did not go through 4, ya katikati.
Yeah.
You went through 8.
Yeah.
And then
4? Oh wait, no, I just went through 8.
Yeah, just 8 peke yake.
Yeah.
How is your experience? Because did you go to high school? You went to high school outside Kenya?
No, I went to St. Christopher's.
What's St. Christopher's?
St. Christopher's is just there, like Karen sides.
Oh,
it's an IG school.
Yeah. When did you go out of Kenya?
2018 for uni.
Oh, okay. So how was, like, you have friends like who have been 844, Sindio?
Yeah.
How was your experience compared to theirs?
Okay, well, one thing I know for certain is that there tends to be this interesting insecurity that's formed by students who didn't go abroad. they tend to feel as though they're not like smart enough. I had a friend who told me, yeah, I'm 844 smart, but I'm not, what did she say? She just said, I'm not like world smart. You know what I mean?
What does that mean?
I think, well, the way I interpreted what she said, how I understood it was that she meant, yeah, I know I'm really smart when it comes to the 844 system. Like, I know everything they've taught me and everything that they've ingrained within me. But when it comes to things of the outside world, I don't think I'm capable of competing with the people who are out there or the concepts and the stuff that's out there. I think that's what she meant.
So she felt inadequate.
Yeah, she did. And I think that's an insecurity that's been formed by people who haven't had that experience outside of 844. But hey, let me just tell you, I think Kenyans are way more capable because we have such drive. We have so much drive and we have so much passion. When I came home, I felt more inspired than when I was out there because people here push themselves harder. Definitely because the life here is harsher than in the Western world. Definitely. And so people will push to their limits until they can achieve what they want to achieve. Whereas in the West, you know, people are more pampered or more easily excused and everything. So it's much easier for them to just ride the wave and just kind of, you know. So that's one thing I noticed. One other thing I noticed, though, and this is like not in any bad way because I experienced this myself, but the moment I went abroad, I noticed that my perception of things wasn't as advanced as I thought they were. I thought I was the best. You know, I was like, I'm so talented. Until I went out there and I was like, oh my God. Like, I just wanted to, you know, just cover myself because everyone out there is a prodigy and you're competing against thousands, if not tens of thousands of prodigies. And so there's an interesting new form of insecurity that comes from going abroad, because then you find yourself in a space where you're like, oh my God, you know, I'm actually not the best. I'm among many others who were the best in their own towns and their own whatevers, and then we all came to this area and now we're competing. And so now that stirs up like mental health issues. It stirs up comparison. It stirs up weird forms of competition. And because the culture out there is so non-communal, you know what I mean? Like in Kenya, people are communal. People will be like, hey, let's go out for a drink. And like someone will buy you drinks and someone will invite you home. People will be like, hey, are you okay? I noticed you haven't been speaking much. But out there, it's so individualized. So like, I think, I don't know, there's pros and cons in each area. And I think like, I'm glad I experienced all of that because when I came back, I realized, oh, so these are the good things that came from being in 844. And these are the bad things that came from being in 844. These are the good things that came from being abroad, yet at the same time, these are the bad things that came from being abroad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's something actually I want to add. You pointed out something that you get out there and you imagine that you're like this smart, amazing person. And then you get out there and realize that all these people here are smart and amazing.
Yeah.
I want the people listening, who listen to the podcast, see if you can relate to this. You went through primary school. You grew up in an affluent town. A major city. You went through primary school. Your entire primary school experience was preparing you for an exam, which you passed. You go to high school. Mm-hmm. Now,
wow, yes.
The sample size becomes smaller. Everybody, especially if you're in a really big high school, everybody who was in high school with you also passed the exams. You have two options. You're either gonna just like fade away, or you're either gonna fade away or you're gonna like continue. You're either gonna fade away, you're gonna learn how to like put in hard work, or the third thing, you're just gonna coast just like primary school. You're just gonna get drilled for exams and pass your exam because you're just working towards the exam. There are only three options. You go through the exam, the high school, the 4 years of high school, getting drilled for KCSE. You get an A. You decide, I passed KCPE. I passed KCSE. I'm going to be a doctor.
Bruh.
Sindio? You go to med school. And usually, like, for the most part, you go to med school, like, because I know, like, med school has really, really high like cut-off points. So for the most part, you're gonna go as a self-sponsored student. So you meet the mark, but not the mark to be government-sponsored. So you go in as a self-sponsored student. You get there, and when you get there, you meet the best students out of every school in Kenya. And for the most part, because they didn't have what you had this opportunity to drill you, like all through. People were training you to pass an exam. What they had was just information that they had to learn for themselves and process. They have something that you will never have, and something that was never taught to you: work ethic. You've never been ojekwa the work ethic to actually sit down and read and consume information. Only thing you did was just read to pass an exam.
To cram even.
To cram. You get to university and then you realize it's a whole different ball game. You were smart. You passed exams in high school. You were bang average in uni. You were literally the most average person in university. There are so many average people with you. All of the best students in Kenya end up being average in med school. And because med school, it's not because they're bad, because med school is hard. Engineering, computer science, all these things. That's how you find somebody. We all know a person like this. Aliingia like engineering or like med school. Wakafika third year and say, fuck this shit. And now, ukienda juu yake unasikia, give it up for DJ Smokey or something. Yeah. Because his whole educational experience was never about him learning. It was always designed for him to pass an exam. And when he reached a point where he couldn't, like, the teacher isn't teaching you to pass. University lecturers don't give a shit about you.
That's true.
That's fucking true.
Because they have nothing to gain from you getting a first class. They have literally nothing to gain. High school teachers and primary school teachers who keep at 400, they have something in it for them.
Prestige.
The university is going to show up in class and teach the people who are there. Wale wako watawafundisha naende home. Still going to get paid regardless.
So and a good amount too.
You failing or passing, I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
You're not the first person who's going to drop out. You're not the last. So the system isn't designed to cater to you.
That's true.
You've been in a system where everything was designed around you. Because, oh baby, please, you have to pass the exam. Let's not put 400 to a position where it's like sink or swim now. For the most part, people sink. And I feel more than anything else, that is the biggest failing of 844. It is designed that you do not learn. Your only thing that happens is for you to pass an exam. That's why people with nothing, they're given the same opportunity as you, and they make more of it. Not because they're smarter than you, but because they are able to put in your work ethic. They've literally had to live their entire educational experience completely different from what you had to live with. Now they were able to match you. They did it in a completely different way. So wakifika university, transition, they're able to make that transition much easier, much smoother. Because the fucked up thing about being drilled in nini, you always think you only pita mtihani on your own.
True. That's
true. You always think you only pita mtihani because uko na akili. You will never ever recognize that this system is designed for you to pass an exam, and that's it.
When I was in high school, we used to be drilled, especially mathematics. Yani tulikuwa nafanya random assessment tests every single week, and also like it didn't help. I mean, it helped the fact that our principal was also a math teacher, so she made sure we had to pass. Again, mean grade is so fucking important. So she made sure each year, whether like exam ikuwe ngumu aje,
mnapita mtihani by force.
Mathematics, like in our year, we had 121 A's.
Wow.
And A minuses in mathematics alone. And hata mimi nakumbuka nikifanya hiyo paper ya math, because sisi hatukuwa na leakage. So when I was doing, but so we didn't have a leakage. So when the math paper came, for me it was so easy to the point where I finished the paper and slept. Both papers. I finished both papers and slept without a leakage. This is because we had been doing papers, constantly from Form 1 till the time the exam was due. And I feel like sai ukinipea paper ya math uniambia nifanye SG differentiation or some shit, I don't remember shit. But in KCSE I got an A. It's just that's
the thing. And your culture could really fucked up because I remember this one time my parents came to see, my dad came to see the teacher, our class teacher, and our class used to teach us chemistry. And she was so mad. She was like, how can this guy get a C in chemistry and get an A in home science? Because I did home science. I was like, anapataje A home science and anapata C chemistry. To them it was so wild that like this optional subject, you're really good at this optional subject, and then you like, chem, chemistry is the most important subject tunafanyanga huku. Every teacher had their own little like world. They felt like whatever they taught was important.
Ah. And
there's
easy.
so much ego to unpack, especially in the Kenyan education system. From the teachers to the like head of departments to the principals to even mpaka saizi to even like the guys who do like the dons in university. Have you ever seen somebody go like give a master's kwenda ku defend proposal ya masters? Those people are so rude.
Really?
They are so. They talk to you like you're a child. What is this? What's
Actually,
this?
you know, now that you say that, I remember someone telling me about the course that teachers, especially 844 teachers, go through for them to become teachers. And they're actually drilled the same way. There's bells ringing.
What?
There's bells rang for them to like, okay, now it's your lunchtime. Okay, now it's time for class, that kind of thing.
Whoa.
I didn't fact check this yet. But the person that was telling me, I know her to be a person that checks her facts. So I'm just like, you know. But the way she was talking about that course, the way the teaching course is done in Kenya, those people are mistreated. They're treated like children, and they're not respected as adults or as people with intelligence while they're going through the course. So when it comes to them being teachers, they basically project that back to the students in a much worse manner.
And I feel like Pia, with teachers, especially, have you ever noticed like when teachers get into leadership positions, they speak down on like Magufuli. Magufuli was a teacher, and you would see even in the way he speaks, even the way he relates.
Spoke.
Yeah, Magoha is a teacher. The one good thing Babu Owino has done in his life was making Magoha's life miserable. Because I was in UN when Babu left and came back. Babu left 2012, 2013, ran for public office, lost. Then he came back like 2014 to do a new degree. Then he as a first year he stood for Sonu chairman. Magoha was like, oh no, you can't stand for Sonu chairman. Babu shut the school down. Like Magoha actually had to bend to his will, because that guy is he's very arrogant in his ways, because he believes. You've seen his CV, Cindy?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. Is it like a teacher thing? But I don't want to say that about teachers, because I have friends who are teachers and they're cool people. I don't know. I really can't say it, but it's so weird that when teachers get into positions of power, they're these really fucking assholes, Mazi.
I think it's intense mental health issues, to be honest. Because I'm telling you, I have so many memories of like teachers just spazzing out on us for no reason. It's like, why did you feel like that was an appropriate response towards a child? You know what I mean? Especially when it came to, like, as you said, punishment. Like, why would you think it's so important to whoop a child's ass because they got one question wrong in the exam? You know, I really think it was mental health issues to an extent that they didn't know how to deal with on their own.
Adam is because this is a fucked up shit. Somebody had 95 last exam, gets a 90 this exam, you whip his ass. They're supposed to get a 96. Like, isn't it unenforceable standards?
Yeah.
How the fuck is somebody gonna get a 96? And when they get a 96, they have to get a 97. When they get to 100, you're gonna have to get 100 every exam.
Exactly.
Or
it's unrealistic.
You're gonna be utapiga mtoi. So a child lives in constant fear of failing an exam, not because, as in, to like for a personal reason, like they want to hold themselves to that standard.
Yeah.
Because they know if they get a question wrong, they're gonna get their ass whipped.
And that's another thing, because sometime this week I saw a tweet by, I think Samira, engineer Samira.
Yeah, I know.
So
she was supposed to be on the show a few times, but
amazing. But yeah, so she was talking about, she's currently teaching mathematics, and she was talking about a story about, there was a kid, a boy she was teaching, and this student was scared to, like fail or something, or even like if the student hasn't understood a question, they're scared to even ask because they're afraid like the teacher's response is going to be like hostile, you know. And she's like, she doesn't understand how, like, it's so deep. The problem is so deep. You know, children are traumatized. They're even scared to ask.
Yeah.
When they don't know.
Yeah.
They're scared. But I'm glad that she created this environment and this technique where she teaches her students with compassion and she's approachable. You know, I love that about her, and I wish more teachers out there would be like her.
I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
Do you think that the situation in Kenya, especially the education situation in Kenya, would be better if parents were more involved in their children's education? Because I feel like with the way Kenya is set up, Kenya is a country of a lot of smart people who have very few opportunities.
Yeah.
Because just going through 844 means like you know a lot. We consume a lot of information through 844. So just leaving school in itself, going through the whole process, you learn.
Yeah.
You know things, and you're able to do things that regular people would not. Because I feel like Kenya, I don't know if this is accurate, but I've always seen like it's one of the hardest education systems in the world.
844, really?
Yeah. So just getting through it is an accomplishment in itself, isn't it?
I don't know why. Maybe I can fact check myself later. But I think I always thought that like the Chinese system.
Yeah, okay, no, it's not the hardest. One of the hardest.
Yeah, okay, one of the
hardest.
That makes sense.
So, do you feel like we'd have a better, like, people going when you're through the trauma, kids going through the system in a better way if parents are more involved? Because parents are like, oh, I have work, my wife has work, who's going to raise our kid?
Yeah.
For the most part, the job of raising your child is left to a teacher.
The school. Yeah.
So for 8 years, especially for like toddlers, for 8 years, a teacher is going to see your children more than you. They're going to spend more time, and they're going to be more instrumental in molding them as people more than you. So do you feel like if parents are more involved in what their children are learning, where they're learning, the people the children spend time around, would it be better?
I think so. Because, for example, majority of the things I know now are things I learned from my mom. Emotional intelligence, how to communicate, spirituality, all the things that I hold dear to my life as values, you know? And in that podcast by the what's her name, Brenda Wamboy, Kenyan story, otherwise,
yeah.
They did a podcast on the new curriculum, and those guys, I think because she was interviewing a lady who was part of designing the curriculum, they dove so deep, and they talked about all the pros and all the cons, and you know, from how they described what this new curriculum is. So there's seven core competency things that they and 7 core values that need to be taught to the students. And so an issue that they raised was, how can you teach? So one of the 7 core competencies, whatever, one of them was social justice. And social justice means different things in many different formats. And so one really important point they raised was, how can these kids learn this if it's something that they're not seeing that's being implemented by their parents at home or even in their societies? So I totally agree. Like, I think it's so important for parents to be updated and to be a huge part of a child's education, because they're the guardians of those children in any ways, you know? I also don't think personally that it's a very responsible thing to create a new human being and expect somebody else to teach them. Of course, the world is going to teach your child, but I think it's still important for you to be able to educate your child and let them learn as much as they, you know, be the change you want to see, and like teach your children those changes, and you know, yeah. So that's what I think. Yeah.
Max?
Just like Kai Sanna has said. Yeah, I'll call you by your artist name.
Thank you.
Yeah, but just
like
like she said, I think parents should be more present in their children's lives, because, again, you can't put this whole responsibility on, you know, another person. I mean, in as much as teachers spend pretty much the most time with these children, parents are also supposed to be there, not just like wake up in the morning, you know, pay school fees, then, you know, wait till the end of the term and just be like, okay, so ulipata marks ngapi? Okay, so you need to do better. Then you move on. Like there's this huge disconnect between like the child and the parent. And I feel like parents can do a better job at being more present.
Yeah, because it's always
get to know like also get to know like their interests outside of schoolwork, because they could be super talented in other areas that are not like related to school, so you could probably invest in that. So
because I remember there was let me not start there. So because parents interact with teachers normally, they have their own day, maybe once a term. So once every 3 months is when you can actually go see the people who are teaching your kids, and that's how you interact with them. You have no idea who's teaching your kid, what the personality they are.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When you say actually, your story interests outside. I had a friend a classmate in primary school. When we were doing like holiday tuition, which I believe should not exist. Fuck that shit. I think ilikuwa banned, sindio?
Yeah.
It was
alafu kuna bado alikuwa anafanya on the side.
Yeah, on the side. Tukifanya holiday tuition to drill us for exams. Fucking bullshit. the one kid didn't show up. And then school year parents meeting, the father came and like the teacher was like, first of all, your child akuja. I don't know if you're aware. And I was like, yeah, he was aware. Like he went for guitar lessons. And the teachers were so shocked. Like, guitar lessons? Kwani utaki apite mtihani?
Wow.
Then, like, he was asking, kwani amfundishangi like kwa term? What do you guys do here? And it was such a shock to other parents.
Yeah.
This parent would be like, nyi watu kwani mnafanyanga nini huku? Why does my child need extra time during the holidays kusomeshwa?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take him for guitar lessons. And I felt really good that day, because this is somebody whose parent is actively involved in what they're learning. Uni mtu anakaa chini anasema, why does my child need 2 extra weeks to learn? I pay you money and I have to pay for that extra 2 weeks, ndio? Doesn't make sense. I pay for 3 months at her whole term. Mbona niongeze?
Yeah.
Anyway, Echo's father, wherever you are, you're the best. And on that note, it's time for the music break. Ivy isn't here with us today, but still vibes in zile. Let's break into the music break.
Ivy gang,
aka Mango King.
And we're back from the music break. Ivy once again amekuja na vibes, ataka yuko hapa. So to close this episode today, I'm just going to ask you guys, what's like the best and worst thing that you got out of your educational experience? I'll start with myself. The worst thing is the constant pressure to always be the best. Always, because unaambiwa, if you fail, you'll end up sleeping under a knee, and as you what, you'll end up living in a shack. I remember going to my sister's school for visiting day. I went to a class, and then on the desk, or like on the board, ilikuwa imeandikwa, ukilala kwa dawati utaishi kwa mabati. And I laughed at the absurdity of it, because as in, always living in our mabati house, like that's like the symbol of failure. Eh? So there's this constant pressure on you to always perform at things you might not even want or be good at. Just always perform, and that trauma doesn't leave you as an adult. You're always at work. You're always worrying, is whatever I'm doing good enough? You're always worrying because you might think of your boss as a teacher. You might think of your superiors like in the same way you thought of a teacher. Like anything I do, they will always critique it regardless, because when you got 96 in a paper, the teacher always asks you, why did you fail this for? So you might give your boss 90% perfect work, and in your mind they're not going to say like, oh, this is great. They're going to tell you, oh, why is it 10% bad? Why is it 10% not the standard I want? That trauma lives with you. It takes a long time to go away. The best thing for me is the relationships I made over time, because all of my best friends are from school. All of them. I met them in like either high school or uni. Yeah, like these are the people I know, I love, the people who support, we care for each other. And honestly, that's the best thing to talk about from this whole experience. I met so many dope people who we've lived a shared experience. And even now that we are all in different parts of life, we're still friends. We're still connected. So yeah, that's me.
All right. For me, I would say the worst thing that I got from 844 was, I think, the constant comparison. I think this still haunts me even till today. I think it's a trauma, as you said, like as you had mentioned. I'm constantly comparing myself to my friends, to my relatives, to anyone else who is my age. I'm always comparing. And like, if we all know, comparing yourself to somebody else or to anyone, it's just like, it's the worst way to live, because you will never properly appreciate yourself or the things that you have accomplished. And so I would say it's the comparison. And one thing that is the worst thing I took away from 844, I guess, is also the extreme competitiveness. I tend to feel like I must be the best and I guess that also ties in with the performance thing that you talked about, because I tend to feel like if I'm not the best, then I'm not doing anything good at all. And I think to an extent that probably shows in my art as well. I think there's a lot of extreme perfectionism, and when people tell me that my art is good, I still will never believe them, because to me, I feel like, but is it perfect? You know? One thing I will say I kind of appreciate from 844, though it was like a bitch, was the resilience, because I think being in 844, you know how I said I pushed myself from like the 200s to the 300 and whatevers? I feel like, you know, I really, really pushed, and it kind of showed me how far I could go, how much I could. It showed me, oh, these are your limits, or rather, these are the limits you don't possess. You know what I mean? Oh. So, yeah, I would say that's one thing. And also the friends also, and the people that I met. Yeah, that's one thing I would say is a good thing.
For me, the best and worst thing is information. So let me break it down. So the best thing is the fact that most of the things that we were taught, you know, you come out nilisema at the beginning. You know, you're like, this is never going to help me. Like, it's useless information. But, you know, you find that in your daily interaction, some of these things start making sense. Say, even like geography. We started learning about like maps, the world, you know, locations, continents, all this shit when we were so young. And unangalia other countries, see, America, these niggas don't know anything when it comes to like geography. They don't know shit.
If it's outside America.
Yeah, if it's outside America, they don't know anything. So I'd say that information on that front. And for the worst thing about the 844 is, again, information when it comes to careers. See, when we were in Form 4, I remember before doing our KCSE, we were told, like, we were given papers, a list of like unis you want to go to, careers, you know, and like the big 5 or whatever, you know, law, medicine, engineering, what else? Aviation, you know, all those things. Then they look down upon like agriculture or, you know, farming and all this shit. And you find that that's how people ended up selecting, you know, like a doctor, or you want to be a lawyer, or you want to be like a pilot, and leaving out all these other courses. And then when you get to uni, upata culture shock, because you can't compete with these people. You can't do med, you know, upata information aingi, because you chose this thing maybe because of the information you were given by your parents or by your teachers. You were told like, yo, if you don't choose like, you know, a good career, your life is over. So that's one thing. Because when I finished high school and came out into the world, umpata say akona career in like copywriting, I didn't know that was a thing until when I finished.
You find your homie who became a DJ is killing it, like playing for 10,000 people, getting like 200k a night. Yeah. And you're there like looking for a 40k job. You're like,
yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, like fuck the 844 for just like, and I hope it stops.
Yeah.
The whole thing of like drilling ideas into people's heads that like, you know, this big career is the only way to go. It's not like that. It doesn't work that way out here. So yeah.
And on that insightful note, yeah, by the contact DJ, do it. Our co-host is a little DJ, and trust me, Ivy makes bank. So yeah, she literally quit her job, her office job, to be like to follow her path as a DJ, and it's working out really well.
Nice.
So if you're thinking about it, kama umechoka na this grind that the 844 ili indoctrinate into, you should give yourself a shot. And literally, Katanu is like right here. She's an amazing artist. She's selling pieces for $1,000. Like,
Have you tried NFTs?
It is.
Have you tried NFTs?
I'm actually thinking about that. I'm making an NFT this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
and on that crypto note, it's been episode what episode 10?
10.
It's been episode 10. See you guys at 11.
Ivy Gang Gang,
aka Mango King.